Good morning, evening, or afternoon. It's your painter in residence, Michael Francis McCarthy, aka M. Francis McCarthy, aka Mike, aka your painter in residence. Now, what are we painting today? If you clicked on it, you probably would have seen the finished painting, which has not been done yet. So, it's a country scene with a road, and yeah, quite happy with it. I want to tell you the story. I'll tell you a story. But when I know, to make the pictures, see a show. Why is that happening? Oh, I know why. Jeez. Okay, my grid has saved something other than a my grid image saved as something other than the kind of file that Windows would open. So let's export that. Give us a nice PNG. So I had now I really, man, I'd love to explore with you guys some of the I did do some videos where I was touching on using the artificial intelligence image generation to help you compose reference images. I think this is a very great use of it. In fact, I took this photo 12, 13 years ago, the basic photo, but it's laughable. If you look at what that photo is, you just see a couple little trees in the background, which, I put aside about a couple weeks, 3-4 weeks, maybe a month ago. I put them aside. I was thinking, I really like those trees. But if you look at the photo, it's a picture of nothing, just a field. But with some the sort of standard, typical digital manipulations. I'm getting to work. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. You worry too much. We need some stubby. Here's the one I abused the other day. Left to dry. It's doing okay. Hey, it was almost completely dry. But you know what saved it? I'm going to give you a tip because you sit here listening to me burbling on. What saved it is this stuff. Okay, you don't have to go with just that brand. They're all of a muchness, but. If you do leave a brush out to dry, just work some of that in, let it sit overnight, wipe that off, work it in again, let it sit, and just be gentle the whole time, and then do your normal cleaning process after a couple days. It'll come right. Let's make some, we got the board already oiled out. You got a few little weird imperfections there. And we painted yesterday. This paint is fresh, ready to go. Our umbers are not dry. We're going to augment that with some Morris Black just to get a little extra darkness. And some matter, because I feel bad for you, matter. Let's just pretty it up a little. More darkness. 5x7, we're working today. I set off. I'll tell you, I got more tips and tricks for those of you that are very patient. I'm having my coffee. I get up, I have my coffee in the morning. It's winter here, so the sun's not up here down in New Zealand until like 8:30. Look at us on the map. We're kind of low. Anyway, all in all, our weather is quite pleasant. Getting to my point. I'm thinking, what do I want to paint today? And then I'm thinking, I'll just decide when I get to the studio. So I walk in the studio, I open the door, I'm looking at my box of 5x7s. I have boxes and boxes of paintings. There's one reason why. I'm real tired of this fucking town. Pardon my French. Anyway, beside the point. I think, 5x7. There we go. Because I was thinking, well, I don't want to make anything too big. Yeah, again, because I don't have You know, the economies have been crap, and this is just not the optimum place for Uncle Mike. In some ways it is, because it supports me. I can keep painting. Oh, I've got food to eat and a place to live, but I would love to close that loop. And some of you could say, oh, I went to your site, you'll have a few things for sale. Yeah, did you buy any of those? No. You know, that's a lot of work for not a lot of return so far. Bit like having a lemonade stand in the desert. People are thirsty, but do they know you're there? Anyway, 5x7 I say. So I grab the board. That's how it starts. And then I start looking through my folders. I'm thinking, oh, I really should do a coastal, because coastals is what these people buy out here, right? Of course, it being winter, you know, we're months away from any galleries calling on me looking for their coastal scenes. So I like to work in some other stuff. And I had this in a folder marked coastal. My original photo from, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago, that I put there because I think I like that mass of trees. Now, our mass of trees here, you're going to see me paint now. I'm getting ready to paint. Doesn't have a trunk. We're going to install a trunk, and we'll talk about it. Over on the other side, if I crop the reference properly, I mean without doing some augmentation, we would have had nothing. Just this rolling hill, which is okay. That would have been okay, but in the original reference, these two tree masses were quite far spread from each other. So I tried using some techniques to get them closer together. Ultimately, what I did was just made a duplicate, brought in the other tree, and it just hinked it around. So I've got something there. And then, getting to the AI at the long last, I cut out a hole and I went to my AI generation thing. I have an agent set up. And I said, see where I cut the hole? I want a road, country road. And put in the country road. It does a way better job than Photoshop ever did with that. So, that's the AI. Yeah. Because otherwise it would have just been a big empty field, and I don't think that looks very good. Now, a couple things. We're going to start drawing. Let's start drawing. Glasses off. This, to me, this mass, now I am, there's a little too much evenness in the space between them, but it is, after all, just photo reference. So I do like the shape of this tree. I believe it's a totara. And reference, there's no trunk, but we're putting one in now. I learned that lesson really early on, even when I was in California still, because a lot of the California oaks, I don't know what the heck it is. Did I pick up another color? There's some blue in there. Won't matter, we'll make it. A lot of those California oaks, the foliage from the tree goes all the way in to the ground. You don't see a trunk, and I learned very early on that don't look good. This is looking nice. That's a tree, huh? Now this boarding color, you notice, is a little different from my typical rich earth. I have a project I'm working on. It's a figure for the what they call the Great Plate out here, which is an auction they do for the quarry. And usually I don't like to do my typical landscapes, because people that are collectors of my work locally, of which, you know, aren't that many because it's not a very big town, they'll pick up my my landscapes. You know, they'll pick it up for the cheap, and then they come in and tell me, "It's just been a while since this happened." So, but the memory still stings. So what I do for the Great Plate is, I do a figure. something different. And they actually have got some pretty good prices. They come out nice. There's a zillion tree holes. You'll see the reference momentarily. And that brings up another point, since we're being very talky this morning. What kind of channel is this? Is this make copies of Mike's paintings channel? Well, if you want, you can do that. Definitely you should give me some attribution, but whatever. It's a big world. Or is it promotion channel? It's that too, or is it just me sharing me painting? Because I like to do that. That's what it is. You guessed. The last one is the right answer. But, ultimately, I realize that, it's all those things. So, I hope that answered your question. But I believe I would be a bigger, more popular channel if I was to pick a more focused direction like that. But the point isn't to be a more popular channel. The point is to paint. And I love to share. And I like to teach. And some people, it resonates with that. So we spent a lot of time working on that one tree. That's nice. Rest of the scene now. Now, here's a bit of a problem. We have a tree here masked, which I kind of like. But then there's a weird spot here. So I'm going to resolve that momentarily. We're going to do this other tree. Now, this other tree, I have about 3/4 of the tree in. I don't want it competing. And one tip I was going to pass you, learned this early on when I came out to New Zealand. I really worked hard on it too. This was a beach, but it had a really nice tree, except I painted half the tree. And one thing that never works is half a tree. 3/4 of a tree works, a whole tree works. If you're doing the whole tree, be careful. This tree doesn't have anywhere near as nice a shape. This tree has a nobility to it that I think is very attractive. I need to be a little careful. I'm a little off balance here. Yeah, it's getting fat. It's getting round. The way to balance it is not to change the mass, it's to move the trunk. Yeah, like I said, 3/4 of a tree, you can get away with that. There we go, that's better. AI did make the road too windy. It did a good job though, considering that I cut it out. And I used the liquefy type tool to de-windify it a bit. I want some windiness. Especially up there, you don't want it to. It's not bad. This color's quite nice on this ochre. Okay. Just dumb people that are playing music. I say that because they gotta have it loud. I can hear their stupid bass. They like music. I don't want to hear their music. Now, one thing about this field is there was these red weeds in it, which are neat. And they tended to flow in these real horizontal bits, which I don't want to stick to 100%. But I want to break them up. You don't want you don't want anything too uniform in a situation like this. Same as the wave rules, ocean rules. Also, you don't want to draft too much here. Let the you're going to want to let the paint do the talking. And there'll be some brighter streaks of lighter grass here. You'll see it all in the reference very soon. That's why I bring up, if this was paint a long channel, I'd have the reference there the whole time. And there's a few videos like that. I don't mind. But because that isn't the whole purpose of the channel, I don't want I have come up with a compromise solution where the reference is shared with the color mixing session. And you can see it there, but it's not tied to my painting for all time with the the process of showing the paint. Now this tree's got big, too big. The main thing I'm trying to do is just keep it irregular. Okay, what might be helpful when we get rid of this grid, because the reference, so that is another big lesson for you, the reference is there for your inspiration. I'm always pointing that out, but you got to have a sense of what's going to work and what isn't. And that, of course, takes time to develop. I'm not telling you should have that automatically. In fact, basically, I'm sorry to say, the main way to learn it is through, doing those paintings that aren't working. And that's how you learn. That's the facts of the matter. If you want instant results, hey, we got the AI for that now. So, alright, I like the second tree, but it needs to have a relationship to this tree. And the gap between it minimized. Also, it's got to be less in the value. We'll do that for now. I do like the rolling hill. I do like how there's like different things going on here. Here's another tree. And everything runs up into that tree there, but we're going to leave that open. See, this tree in the reference doesn't have an amazing shape, just look like a big lump. And it's usually incumbent. Some of your trees have great shapes and you can use what's good. If it doesn't, do your own thing. Again, too, here, if we can get a trunk in, it won't come off like a bush. It's bush syndrome. I don't care how hard you work, how epic your painting abilities were in evidence. Ultimately, a tree without a trunk is a bush. Write it down. You're going to remember that. A tree without a trunk is a bush. Lesson from the master. Alright, I'm going to wrap this up because I want the paint to do the talk more so than all this drawing. It's not going to be a light trunk, but it will be a discernible trunk. A bit of a gap here, but that's okay because we got a rolling hill. Here it goes. That's nice. Okay. See, look, this brush is doing a great job. I saved it. It was a recent stubby too. I mean, it's a nice brush. It's just recently been. It's one of my filberts. You can see I've worn it way down. There's a lot of flatness in the reference there. When in a case like that, you never want that. You always want to bring in some. I did a lot of vignetting. It was all. And the vignette thing's a big secret, man. Keep people out of the. You don't want to hang out here. You want them over in here. And so one of the ways we do that. Also, we don't want to do a lot of 1, 2, 3. I'm going to break that up. We have to work all that out. I'm going to, on purpose, just leave it. Now, get something there for the sky. I don't want it too dark, so you can see I got a bunch of oil. Wiped it off. You didn't see that, but I made blue sky. I did the blue sky yesterday, too. When I say blue sky, it's blue sky with a lot more clouds than most people would paint, because to me, blue sky, mostly blue sky, little white clouds, is just not my thing. And the sky reference is from the photo I took, also probably, 14 years ago. It's in my sky folder. And there are times you can just leave the sky blank. You don't necessarily have to draw it in. It's nice. It's nice. One of the reasons I like this reference, this hill is just nice green hill. There'll be some tan in it and things. Like I said, I'm not drafting a lot there. The sky will tuck in here. Just to make a point, I'm going to dip that into the oil, as you say, and just make sure it's erased. So we get some congruence there. Even that's fine. Oil floating on there. Yeah, I'm happy with this drawing. Oh yeah, so this was going to say, there's some little clouds here. I'm always trying to get better at that. Also, there are some little trees on the hills. I ain't painting that. I might go for it if I was painting this larger. One idea I tell you in my head is I'd love to do a lot more larger paintings. If I feel I had a market for it, I would. I've been saying that for years, and I feel it manifest. And when it does manifest, I have tons of nice compositions I've come up with that I could definitely interpret more large, at a more large size, using the original as a study. Pardon me. All right, we're done with the drawing. It's telling a story. Again, I want to watch out for a 1, 2, 3 type rows. I like that. Does that look good? Does it look good to you? Okay, I can see a couple issues looking in the camera. One is like, I've got to break something up here. Well, that did sort of help. You'll see in the reference, there's zillions of sky holes. And then this needs an opening. Much better. Color mixing. We're doing good. I did a little more work on the drawing, more erasing, but you'll see when we come back. Not a statement in and of itself. Sometimes drawings do work out very nicely. Okay, starting with the blue. That's my way. It's not a big painting, so now this is not the Winsor Newton Prussian blue. It is, I want to say Art Spectrum. Doesn't really matter. It looks exactly. It was working exactly the same. A little umber, a little ivory. Umber is bringing in more of that quality that I want. Mixing red, it's always the same. In this case I don't have any ocean or anything, so I don't want it too dark. I'm making a little patch of blue to have over to the side. Right here, close to its. That can be quite handy to have. And then here we're going to hit the color. Well, we're going to get closer to the reference, which is a lot lighter, and start off with a little bit of this, even some of that, maybe. You basically just want to start getting away from that too, man. That's looking nice. I want to get even closer to the reference. So I'm going to do a little burn number here. There's like a duskiness in there. And I'm a recovering perfectionist, as we covered in a fairly recent, I don't even know if it was recent. We covered it in Easel Talk. Check out the Easel Talks. All the free education you can ever want. All you got to do is listen to me burble. In and amongst the burbling, though, is all the gems, and they will all be readily accessible in that upcoming book when that comes out. And I've decided that I'm just going to keep working on that, proofreading it. I've got one all proofread. I got half of the other one proofread. You like my bracelet? It was in the restroom here. I've been waiting for whoever it was to claim it. Normally I would only wear something like that if it was black, but I feel this is a symbol of me telling the universe I'm ready for more success. Okay? More, and you get on with people nicer and all that stuff. All right, let's talk about the grays. I don't see a lot of warm gray in this. But what I'm going to do is temper. I probably should have done that with ember. You can use something that has greeniness in it, like the ochre, to temper out some of that red, and that's pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Like that. Not exactly like the reference, but good. I want to have something a little warmer and something a little cooler. The cooler is easy to handle with the Mike's Gray. There we go. Probably should have made a little more, but of all. Now some of these cool grays. That's too light. I want to. Overlight to my Mike's Gray. That's kind of getting there. That's going to be, no, it's not bad. Yeah, too dark, but it's got a pretty good feel. I like it. I'm going to go with that for now. just doing the basics here, my friends. There's, I leave room for the adulterating things as you're painting. So I'm going to go right into more of my whites. Usually the basis for that will be, this is my darker white. The basis for that will be yellow ochre and raw umber. I could get into that bone, the buff, but I'm so used to controlling this a certain way. I don't want that too creamy, too yellow. I want a yellowness to it. I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's pretty good. I want it cooler a little. Put a little more yellow back in. That complexity, that's what'll make your paintings sing. That and the brushwork, but you could have virtuoso brushwork with colors that are too plain, too non-natural feeling. Okay, I'm going to do our lightest light. Now I don't want to go too, here I will use this buff. And I'm going to just hold off on the yellow for a minute. The yellow I'm going to use is a tiny amount of cat, and watch. It'll have a giant impact, an outsized impact. That's way too present. That's kind of getting in what I want. It's a bit cool. Bring in some of that, and I'm happy with that. That could be brighter or lighter, but we have paint. I wonder how we put it all together. It doesn't look like I have very much. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So big tip, same tip I'm always passing along. If your color mixing's going a little off the rails, it's starting to add up to too much paint, put some aside and then start adjusting. Now it could be lighter, but we're going to go with that for now. And then oftentimes you can find you just add it back in after you've got things headed the direction you want, like I just did. I just showed you. And I showed you a zillion times, and hopefully I'm going to show you a zillion times more. Okay, now we're into the land now. And here, malls, some of this, ivory, that's our darkest dark. Doesn't need to be. I've already got shadings of all sorts of other things going on in other words, the drawing has some darkness in it already, so this is for the darkest. Okay. Okay. Yes. Paraline. Let's wake it up with some mic screen. More mic screen. I'm gonna get too crazy with the red on this That's nice. That's nice for the dark green. Or we'll do a red. It's just a good idea. I don't know about that white in there, and I'm gonna get rid of that. You'd be surprised how a little bit of white like that can utterly contaminate your mix at this point. You don't want white involved at this point at all. I want a red. Reddish. That went a bit too dark. There's blue in there. Ooh, how ugly is that? Goodbye. Good. Contaminated. Try again. The base, burnt sienna, backed up with some of this. Well, that's not what I want, but you're going to see. Let me show you something. Well, I went too dark again. It could be useful though. I was struggling with the same thing the other day. Cad red, you saw how tiny that was. Cad red, very expensive, but goes a long way in your mixes, man, I'll say that. Of course, it will introduce chalkiness, definitely in the case. Yeah, there we go. That's just to keep me on the straight and narrow without getting too green in my trees, which I'm looking at them, they're all just plain old green. Yeah, now I don't have burnt sienna, but you know what, it don't really matter because I can use this for the same job. Ooh, hey, that's rich, that's nice, I like that, perfect. And I will go ahead and do my highlight green, which I don't, the grasses are dead, not dead, but dry. So in a case like that, I like to bring in the permanent green light, which is greener than Mike's green, if that is possible. Mike's green is a right up the middle kind of green. Okay, let's do some grasses. That'll be our darkest grass tone, okay? First, and we have Mars yellow enter these. What the hell? Get back to work. I have a piece of card covering the camera, which is even more critical now that they've put the clear light, fixed the clear light here. That's why your palette's so light here. But I think ultimately it is working okay. Boy, that is not like the color I'm after at all. To the point that, I'll put some of that aside. It just needs to be flatter, duller. That's kind of getting there. Kinda. Yeah, I see blue in there. Won't matter as much with this mix. That's pretty good. Pretty good. A lot more of it than I need. That's going to do a lot of our heavy lifting. And from here, we're going to move into some ochre tones. That's quite nice. The next ochre will be bringing in some white. That's pretty close. Might be time to bring in some white now. Won't be an issue with dead or dry grass because we don't mind a little chalkiness there. Nice. And then we got started with the CAD for a reason. That's gonna be fake looking, probably. But you can see the grass is pretty yellow, okay? I'm liking that. The white will kill the color simultaneously as it lightens it. I don't feel like yellow ochre alone will get me where I want to be. That's pretty good. We're done. Done color mixing. Oh, the green hills. You want to do the green hills? I will. I'll do it for you. Because that's, I have ideas about that. I've done it before. I don't do it a lot, but I would like to paint more scenes like this. This is the inland here. I think it's beautiful. What I was very interested in painting when I first came out here, of course, they didn't care about that. They're all about their coastal scenes here, because that's what the tourists like. That's what they identify. And you ain't very far from a beach out here, I'll say that. All right, Green Hill. Counterintuitively, I think Paragreen is the way to start. And then some of that, and then some of that. And I'm thinking the Paragreen will do nothing. That's okay. That's alright, we're getting there. That's kind of our shadow color on those hills. Keep some of that. I don't need a lot. It's a little flat. Can I get there with just yellow ochre? It's not far off. It needs a bit more golden. What are you doing here? Maybe you might help. A little more goldeniness. That's getting there. Pretty good. This is going to be dangerous what I'm doing here. Tiny. Yeah, that did. Cad yellow will always green things up quite a lot. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Of course, we're going to need lighter and darkers. Well, we got the darker, but we'll call it a day with that. That'll be the Green Hills. It's a little dark, but you get the idea. Yo, back from lunch. Here we are. Here we are. Okay. Khalil, I've been thinking about my brushes. That's a little big for this painting. It is. Too big. Because I wanted to talk with you a little bit about this. You know what might be good is to see your trick. There we go. Come on now. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Visualization, my friends, and not coming from any airy-fairy place, but seeing your painting in your mind come together and ideas and inspirations. And usually I'll get impacts as far as brush work. But I was thinking today I want a more chiclety approach. I think I've had that kind of in my mind. The painting I did yesterday came out looking nice, but had a bit more of a scrubby approach, which is fine. That's fine. I ain't going to force the issue. Because you can have ideas, of course, but what manifests is sometimes something very different, and that's all good. We don't need the grid version. Yeah, I'm happy with my drawing. It's a sound drawing. This tree, we're going to work with it some more, but we're going to work with it in the process of doing the paint. As far as drawings go, happy with that. That's pretty dark. pretty rich. That's a little thin. I do enjoy this color, I will say. The oakier version of rich soil is nice. What I may do is just, start lightening that now. I may, that's pretty subtle, that's okay. That's the color we mixed. I may just buy another pot of that ochre tone and then mix it into the rich soil as I want. That makes sense. Because I overinvested and was very, excited about the house paint. See, a little bit of chickliness is what I want. Nice thing about these ear track, nice thing about all flats is the, now one thing I'm not in love with is bars going all the way across the painting. I don't like that. I'm going to minimize that. I want to be able to get in and out. Still quite pure. We ought to add a little, see, depurified a little with the yellow ochre. I don't necessarily like this. Two forms the same. That's nice. Now I could keep going all the way down to the hill, but I think I'll wait. See, I heated it up. Just didn't follow through. So I got 1 something. We're doing alright. Well, can you? Okay, wipe that off. I'm gonna reset with a little number. Oh, I do like that. So I went too far. Let's see how it looks on the painting. There we go. That's a nice compliment. That's rich. Wow, too dark. Yeah, that's better. I don't like light bits in the corners. This is going to be lighter on this side though. Nice. Always good when the value is similar. I don't go too far with this. This is my warm, so I'll do a little more, but I want to get the cool, mostly cool in there. Cool. Just gives us some interest, you know. It's a little dark. Maybe I went too far. Yeah, those moves I just made, just making sure I'm breaking out of row mode, you know. I call it, let me call it 1, 2, 3. That's pretty good. Maybe a bit more of a lighter, cool gray in these clouds here. Yeah, this is have my cake and eat it too color, a little lighter though. Ah, I said a little lighter, man. I want it to lean more cool. Some of that blue in it too. Things get less distinct down here. Particulates in the sky. It definitely is reading as blue though. No question about that. Lighter, another touch. We're going to be going lighter on this, but it's good to get kind of a more slightly darker tone in first, I think. That way when you come up to the edges against the sky, you've got a bit of a transition. Pro tip for you. Now you cannot make moves like that with a filbert. That's the corner of a relatively new flat. And one of the reasons I always said, with flats, that I would basically start with new brushes if I was independently wealthy, I'd probably start with a new brush every time. I don't know if that's the case. Actually, it's certainly not as much the case now that I've learned the secrets of proper brush cleaning. I'm going to make it a little lighter in the corners. Not as light as... No, actually, maybe I am. Who knows? You got to do what you got to do. I like that. Definitely want less point. It's just a personal thing I tend to do to make things pointy. That was the same with my human anatomies. Alright, now we're getting into something here. A little while. Just to get us along, get us through. This is going to be a lot brighter. A little too mirrory. You don't want to, I call it the halo effect. You don't want to have your highlights following the cloud shape exactly. That's even a bit more than I like, but let's keep going. Pretty happy with that. So this is like, when I look in the camera, it's just creating this like rectangular pattern that's maybe somewhat better. like that. Remember, I wanted it kind of a little chunky. I'm not convinced that's a good move there. Looking in the camera, I don't think it is. I think that works. Check out my book. It's $65 US and international shipping is included. It contains full exploration on how to paint in a toneless manner, all of the information that has been on my channel over the last 10 years. And I have had nothing but lots of praise for this book. So check it out. If you don't have a copy already, order yours today. Let's leave it. That's good. Let's keep moving. Sky holes, what's your question? 1. One sky hole down from 1 gazillion. Yeah, any more than that, it's going to have... I know, I'm not kidding, man. Any more than that, we're in Swiss cheese mode. One thing I might do, it's just coming to me right now, I can use the same brush of sort of similar colors. I did not mix any colors for the path, but I could. Maybe that's not far. Just turn that into a bit more of a brown. It's not far off. It's going green. That's cad yellow for you though, and that's why you got this job, Mr. Cadre Hugh. Dark path. Yeah, I like that. It's a little strong, but good. I'm talking about the sky. Sorry. Yes, this brush. Oh, it's still a little green. I want to neutralize you a little bit more. See that mixing red? Very useful indeed. Now, you would have seen the reference image, and I don't paint the grass in the middle, but I don't mind painting a bit. So I'll paint with the corner of this brush all day. That's how I train myself. That's a good start. Burnt sienna. Quite close to the board color, which ain't a bad thing. Push it a little bit so. Pretty much just board color, very close, a little lighter, that's nice. I'll lean a bit more into the white thing because I'm going to have a lot of yellow grass. This painting's looking great. I think the painting I did yesterday was good. I wouldn't say it was great, but you know what? Not every painting is going to be great, okay? It's just a fact. If you did good, saleable, I got a whole talk about that. Saleable, someone will love it. It might be someone's favorite painting, and your one that you think looks great is not their favorite. I know I picked up a little yellow, but it's okay. As long as we're consistent with it. I don't want to go too far because I like the effect. You keep messing with things, you mess them up. That's just that's the facts of the matter. You can argue with me, but you can't argue with the facts. And the facts are, you keep messing with the painting, and you're gonna lose something. Maybe you'll gain something. Maybe you'll gain, but you'll definitely lose. You gotta lose to win with painting. Not always though. The best way, and that's why so many painters end up being olive premium painters. The best way not to lose to win, to just win to win, is just put down your strokes and leave them. You heard it here. Just a bit of connecting, that's nice. Here's the other thing, leave it alone, and move on to a different part of the painting. When you come back, you go, oh, I could do this, I could do that. Now, I do need a fairly small brush for my black brush. Yeah, I'm going to go with the 0. That one's very well broken. I want a newer 0, if I could have one, please. Well, they're all broken, holy cannoli. Oh, pretty well broken. This one's newer. Yeah, normally I prefer these. It's a Silver Grand Prix 0 flat. Small painting. Little bits I've already got kind of what I want to do in the drawing, except I don't want the black going up too high. We're talking strong blacks now. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Yeah, that's something I was going to pass on to you yesterday. I forgot, but I remember you. You're a little bit floppy. Yeah, you won't stay floppy for long. So what do I do with all the places that were sky holes? I'm going to replace them with highlight. That works better. I had 3 and 4. You saw at various points I did. Yeah, there's kind of this green, like, I hesitate to call it a bush. It's pretty good. This painting's got a great feeling to it. I'm so glad I chose this motif today. I like to do more like this. I don't get too crazy with the darks down here. It's pretty much just less pressure. I knew it. A lot of oil in that. I don't want it too serpentine. That's not a good look. Yeah, and you know this is tree pretty much making as strong. I don't like to play, especially maybe small like this. I don't want to play too much games with the aerial perspective thing, which is, you know, basically when you start introducing haze and mist. which is a good thing to do, for sure. That wasn't a good move. Oh, yeah, nice. Okay, darks are in. What do I got? You're the sky brush there. Don't put him back. That's not going to work. This could do. This could be good. I'd like if it was a little longer, but I think that's workable. Ooh, you remember how I said I ain't putting no red in that? Well, we'll take that back. Take that back right now. There we go. That's a lot nicer. That's a fake. Go a little richer. How would I do that? What do you think? Permanent green light, pretty good. Another paint on my brush. Perfect brush for this job. Now I can see places now where it kind of starts going into reds, so I don't want to overdo. That's a whole different color. That tree I will do something different. Okay, I'm introducing the slightest amount of aerials here. It's not super noticeable, but a little bit of Mike's gray, which is sort of indicating a haze effect. We'll go lighter there. We'll go lighter. That's nice. Cool. Now that red, remember we made that right here? It's kind of unabashedly red. It's earthy, but it's still very red. And here you're going to see what I was thinking about. I was thinking of going greenier green here, but it could be a challenge. We're readier. Could be real nice. See right there, that's nice. That's Pro Tech. And if I waited to do this, I wouldn't have any places to do it because they'd all be painted green. So here we've got a nice little bed for the lighter green to come in. And it's broken us out of everything in the world's green mode. Here I do need to introduce something. I think I can use some of that. Nice. Okay. So let's go and paint the back mountain. I know that's counterintuitive a little bit, but much like if this was a coastal, like that. It's just like old umber. You're laying in tons of it. It's not getting you nowhere. Not complaining. It's too dark now. Another reason for not making that particular bush there green. I might have some kind of tans up and down there, some dead grass or something. Okay. Notice how that cat just gives me a greener effect. It's because cat really is green. You can think of it like that. And we need some oil, and also that's hardly any paint there. Ooh, rain. I don't want a hard edge. I want it to be discernible. I heard the rain. Now is that it? Now it needs to go a heck of a lot lighter. Yeah, if I can hit that same value as the sky, that would be nice. That's what's happening in the reference. I think that's a good. Okay, CAD, you're a character. Okay, here we want to slightly change as we pull into the trees. Gosh, this brush was so totally the right call. Even a bit. Nice. I like that. Because the painting's so small, I'm getting away with all kinds of stuff I don't have to work out. It's nice. Down there. That's a bit in your face. That was mixed for grass. One of those path colors, yeah. Okay. We're going to do the grass next. Oh, we could go light green. Now, we had that reddier red tone here. I'm going to put that in first. It's a little lighter. We're going to have to use orange to do that. Teddy speck of cad red. That's not very much paint, Mike. Nothing done. Yeah, that's right. Kind of a greenish here, taking my cue from the reference. You want bluegrass, you want little bits underneath. So when you come over with the lighter, you can have bits peeking through. That's good. That's not doing much. Just breaking this out of row mode if we can. Okay, nice. Like that is our grass foundation in. Now I might not always do that red like that, but here there's like I said, there's kind of these reddish weeds. So I think that's working well. This is the, these are our grass colors we mix. Yeah. And no reason not to keep using. This is, by the way, very nice. The Refined 2 Princeton. It's a filbert. It's pretty well worn. These are pricey. They have this lovely orange handles though. That's what you're paying for. Okay, next bit in the grass. Very close to board color. This basic tone in the reference just way more greeny. The board color totally supporting us here. Yeah, I don't go too far. I got two other colors to go. And normally I might go right into that, but I definitely want some spread at this point. This is really, I like painting the forest scenes. I like painting these kinds of scenes a lot as well. I like painting the coastal too. I've gotten used to it. just a bit. Yeah, real happy with that. Now, Okay. Ooh, pink, I don't want. No. Try again. One more pop in red. Well, I ain't gonna get there with white. I'm gonna get there with my mixing red and orange. Now I could go for the cad red, but that's not the tone I want. I want some pop in those areas I set up as red. It's getting pretty hot, but that's kind of what I want, a little bit of color. Ah, green. That's a green. Two greens I haven't used. How about you? Nice, nice, very nice. Alright, that's enough of that. We're almost done, friends. All we're going to have to do is do the green and the trees. Maybe a few adjustments. And I can tell you how we know I'm done, because I'm at this point not that worried about saving colors. I don't want to overwork that grass. Maybe I already have. Okay. There's a lot of white in that brush, and that ain't going to necessarily get on the green I got on mine. So clean my brush with oil is what I've done. Yeah. What have we got here? I think it's better. There's not a lot of exact highlights. I mean, there's a few, but 90% of what I want to do, I'm going to be doing right now. super thick, super floppy. It's costing me. No. Okay, alright. We have a situation where no sky colors are left. I probably wiped them away saying, yeah, I'm almost done. That's alright, I'm not gonna stress about that. I gotta carve a little out of that tree. Not a lot. That's probably fine. Actually, my original might be good there. So when you find yourself hunting like that, it's pretty much a clue that's done. Okay, come on now. Was there no oil in there? What do you guys is happening? We're done. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Definitely going on the channel. I think it's super strong. Beautiful. Let's have one look in the camera. Yeah, that's working good. That's working good. The grass is a little noisy. I could probably use a sky brush for that. So, wiping off this sky brush really well, so there's no paint on it. There's a little paint in it. Just quiet things down. Just quiet down. guys. I like that edge there. I don't really want to mess with it, but it's a little hard. There we go. Nice painting, guys. Nice painting. Look at this, the camera see. Well, you don't so much see it again. Okay, that's screamingly bright. Thank you. Yeah, that's better. We still have some of this. One other thing I think would be good. I don't need this such a strong diagonal here. Better. Okay. Bye. See ya. Thanks for joining me.